The other day, I was at the bar. It was a Sunday night. Don't give me too much heat. I don't go to bars very often, but it was Christmas. And I'm talking to my buddy who works there. I haven't seen him in a couple months. He's a little more left-leaning than I am. He likes the Young Turks. He likes NPR. And somehow, in our conversation, I said, man, these Wiggers are getting out of hand. We got to do something about these Wiggers. These white guys out here acting crazy, bro. They're tweaking off their grandma's meds. And my slightly left side of the aisle friend goes, yeah, you know what? These Uyghurs are getting pretty bad out here. And I heard two heavy-set girls behind us go, oh, what did they say? And everybody else at the bar, there were like 50 people at this bar. It was a Sunday. It wasn't busy. I saw like the bartender and a few people smirk. And I realized, wow, nobody cares that we're just saying Uyghur out loud. I thought I got a little too carried away. It's obviously one of my favorite words for some reason. But the only people that cared were those two heavy-set girls. And even they weren't that mad about it. They kind of laughed in shock. And I realized, oh my Lord, I think free speech is healing. Because just a couple years ago, this is my favorite bar, by the way. This is like a second home. I was literally born in the hospital across the street. This bar is one of the first things I've ever seen in my life. But just a few years ago, during COVID, that bar was so bad. You had people that would sit there drinking a beer next to you, yelling at you that you're not wearing a mask between shots. I had a good friend of mine, friend of the channel. We were playing pool with some friends. He realized he didn't have his pool quarters, so he walked out of the bar to go get his pool quarters, and when he walked back in, he didn't put his mask on. And would you believe it? A short female cop comes in, giving him all sorts of hell for not wearing a mask. She's not wearing a mask. No one in the bar is wearing a mask. She's giving him hell, kicks my buddy out of the bar for not wearing a mask just to walk through the front door. That was just a couple years ago. And now, me and my slightly left-leaning buddy are sitting at the bar saying Uyghur out loud with impunity. And my buddy's got a booming voice. Nobody cares anymore. It's a beautiful thing. I think, now you can't just go saying anything yet, right? Not that, I think you should be able to say basically anything, barring like physical threats and calls to violence. But I don't know. It looks like maybe we're on the way to saying whatever we want again. I do want to warn you. Back in like 2017, 2018, when all the uprising podcast stars were getting grilled by the legacy media for things that the media took out of context, for not being progressive enough, back when things were reaching like the fever pitch of you're not allowed to say that culture, I knew it was going to swing back this way. I mean, anyone who's read history, who's aware of psychology, anything like that, anyone who's done their own independent reading knows that culture is a pendulum, right? And it swings back and it swings forth. And even though we're enjoying this break in the clampdown on our freedom of speech, you should be prepared for what comes after this. Because there will be an after this. There's always an after this. And as fun as it is to just say whatever you want and listen to the gasps of the sensitive, we need to make sure that when using our freedom of speech that we've recently gotten back, we are doing it in a way that is judicious and prudent enough to make it a long-lasting cultural staple again, and not something that will be abused and taken to such an absurd degree that, similar to what happened this last election cycle, the culture flips on us, turns against us, and crushes us suddenly and rapidly, because that will happen. We just watched it happen, and it can be us, and it has been the side of freedom before. So we have to, I hate to say it, we got to be a little diplomatic. Enjoy, celebrate, say whatever you want for a little bit, but just do it within reason. And like I said, do it, you know, use your own discernment, right? So I don't know. Oh, it's just nice to have back. I hope we can keep it. People can never take just enough, though. Like, it reminds me of, and, you know, the people on the left side of the aisle did this same thing. People in allied countries who rely heavily on us. That's all I'll say about that. They do this same thing where they don't know when enough is enough, and they keep taking and taking. The best example I have of this is when I was in school. Every now and again, we'd run out of stuff to do in, I don't know, geometry or something. So the teacher would tell us that if we could keep it at a reasonable decibel level, we could just talk for the rest of the day. We could just talk amongst ourselves and gossip and do whatever 11th graders do. I can't name a single time where within 5 minutes the teacher had not revoked that decision and then given us some kind of busy work to occupy us for the rest of the period, plus some homework as punishment. Like, we could never talk at a reasonable level. That was not happening. We would always immediately, as soon as we could whisper, we would start screaming. You know, as soon as she gave an inch, we took a mile, and to our own detriment. So, just something to keep in mind. Realize when enough is enough. Be tactful. Be intelligent. Don't just go be some crass idiot for the sake of it. You're allowed to, but then everyone else is allowed to turn on you, and you know, you could cost long-term gains for short-term entertainment if you're not careful. So enjoy your free speech. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, why don't you use that free speech to tell me what you'd like me to talk about? I want to hear from the 4 of you that listen to this. And, you know, I don't want to talk about anything too uninteresting, so let me know. Take care. Thank you.